Okay, so if you're a cat owner, you know the deal. That daily scoop. It's just a part of life with our cats, right? But let's be real, it's not exactly the most glamorous chore. And that's why so many of us get drawn in by the promise of a high-tech fix. But it really brings up one of the biggest questions in modern cat care.
You've seen them, I'm sure, these sleek, almost futuristic-looking pods that promise to make scooping a thing of the past. But then you see the price tag, which can be hundreds and hundreds of dollars. And that leads to the big question on every cat owner's mind. Is all that convenience really worth that much money?
So, before we really get into the weeds, let's make sure we're on the same page. You've got your traditional litter box, basically a simple pan that needs you every day to do the cleaning. And then you have the automatic box. This is the high-tech version that uses sensors and some kind of mechanical system, like a rake or a rotating drum, to sift the waste away into a little storage compartment after your cat has left.
Okay, let's start with the most obvious difference, the thing everyone thinks about first, the actual time and effort you spend with that scooper in your hand. This is where the automatic box makes its biggest, boldest promise.
Now, when you look at these numbers, the daily stuff is kind of what you'd expect, right? But what's really wild is when you see how it all adds up over a full year. With a traditional box, you could be spending up to 90 hours just scooping. With an automatic one, that daily time just disappears. It's zero. Your main job just becomes changing out a waste bag once a week, and that only takes a few minutes. I mean, just let that sink in for a minute. We're talking about saving up to 90 hours a year. That is more than 2 full 40-hour work weeks. That's time you get back in your life. When you frame it like that, you can totally see the appeal, especially if you have a crazy schedule. That's more time for, well, literally anything else, including just playing with your cat instead of cleaning their bathroom.
But, and this is a big but, there's a really important reality check here. Automatic does not mean maintenance-free. Not at all. These machines still have to be completely taken apart and deep cleaned on a regular basis. And as this quote points out, that out-of-sight, out-of-mind convenience can sometimes make us, forget about that crucial deep clean, especially since the rake doesn't always get every single little bit.
But the time you spend cleaning is only one piece of the puzzle. Let's talk about what it's actually like to have one of these things in your home, the stuff you're going to notice day in and day out.
Odor control is, let's face it, a huge deal. With a regular box, even if you scoop every day, smells can definitely linger. This is one area where the good automatic boxes have a serious advantage. They whisk the waste away within minutes and lock it up in a sealed, often carbon-filtered compartment. That constant cycle of cleaning really helps keep odors from ever building up in the first place.
The flip side of that automatic cleaning, though, the sound. That whirring of motors, the sound of the rake moving through the litter, it can be pretty unsettling for some cats, especially if they're naturally a bit timid. And while a lot of cats do get used to it, some just never will. And that can actually lead to them avoiding the litter box altogether.
So, to put that sound into perspective, what does 45 decibels actually sound like? Well, it's about the same as the hum of a modern refrigerator or the general sound level in a quiet library. To us, it's not loud at all, but for a cat, with their super sensitive hearing, it can definitely be an event.
Now here's where things get a little ironic when we talk about space. Automatic litter boxes are big, bulky machines. They take up way more floor space. But funnily enough, all that external bulk for the motors and the waste bins often means there's a much smaller, more cramped space on the inside for your cat to actually do their business.
And that brings us to what is honestly the most important perspective in this entire debate: your cats. A litter box can have all the fancy features in the world, but if your cat refuses to use it, it's basically just a very expensive piece of plastic.
So, let's just pause for a second. Let's forget about all the features and our own convenience. The real question we have to ask ourselves is, what does my specific cat need to feel comfortable and safe?
Okay, now this is a really, really important rule of thumb from the experts. For a cat to be comfortable, their litter box should be 1.5 times their length, and that's from their nose to where their tail starts. That gives them enough room to turn around, dig, and feel at ease. The hard truth is, a lot of commercial litter boxes fail this test, and some of those smaller, narrower automatic models are major offenders. And if a cat feels cramped, you know what happens? They might go right at the edge or even over it, leaving you with a huge mess.
So when you really look at it from your cat's point of view, the potential downsides are pretty serious. That mechanical noise and movement can be genuinely scary. A lot of these have enclosed, pod-like designs, which can make a cat feel trapped. The inside is often just too small, especially for bigger cats like a Maine Coon. And there's another subtle danger. When the box cleans itself, we stop paying close attention, and we might miss changes in our cat's bathroom habits, which is often the very first sign that something is wrong with their health.
All right, let's talk money, because this is a big one. The financial commitment for an automatic litter box is pretty significant, and it definitely doesn't stop after that first purchase.
I mean, the initial price difference is just huge. A traditional box is going to set you back maybe $20 to $50. An automatic one, it starts around $200 and can easily go past $700. But the real eye-opener is that third bar. Once you factor in all the ongoing costs, like special bags, carbon filters, sometimes even special litter, and then the potential for repairs, the total cost of just owning one of these things for a few years can easily shoot past $1,000.
Okay, so we've talked about the time, the experience in your home, your cat's point of view, and of course the cost. So now let's try to put all of this together and figure out what might actually be the best fit for you.
If you are constantly running around and saving time is your absolute top priority, then yeah, an automatic box could be a total game changer for you. The thing you have to remember, though, is it's not set it and forget it. You still need to keep an eye on it, make sure it's working properly, because if it malfunctions, you could come home to a serious hygiene disaster.
Now, what about multi-cat households? This is a big one. The golden rule from experts is you should have one litter box for every cat you own, plus one extra. And financially, it's just so much more practical to have 3 or 4 traditional boxes than it is to buy multiple automatic ones that cost hundreds of dollars each. It also helps prevent any fights over who gets to use the one fancy bathroom.
And if you have one of those cats that hides whenever the vacuum cleaner turns on, or is just generally a little anxious, the quiet, predictable, simple nature of a traditional box is almost always going to be the better, safer choice. Trying to force a nervous cat to use a noisy, moving machine is just a recipe for stress and, likely, accidents outside the box.
And of course, if budget is king in your house, well, there's no contest. The traditional box is the clear winner. But here's a little pro tip. Instead of getting a cheap plastic box that can get all scratched up and hold on to odors, think about spending just a little bit more on a stainless steel one. They last forever, they don't absorb smells, and they are so much easier to get truly hygienically clean.
So, at the end of the day, when you're making this choice, just remember this. The goal here isn't to buy the fanciest, most high-tech toilet for your cat. The goal is to find a system that just works, one that your cat feels safe and comfortable using every single time, and one that you can realistically keep perfectly clean, whether that cleaning is done by you or by a machine.
Ultimately, the perfect choice really comes down to your lifestyle, your budget, and most importantly, your cat. And that's why I'm so curious to hear from you. What's working in your home? Are you team automatic or team traditional? Share your experiences, the good, the bad, all of it down in the comments. We've also put some links to great examples of both types in the description below if you want to check them out. Thanks for watching.